morning, Sophie. How are you?
Good morning, Amy. I'm doing great. And yourself? I'm
I'm
very
doing
excited.
pretty good. I'm excited to have you on today because we got some really cool things coming up actually for the both of us. And you're here today to talk about your new book that's coming out on the 11th. And
Yes.
what's the name of your book?
It's called Ending the Cycle from Abuse to Purpose. And my
Ending
book,
the-
Ending the Cycle from Abuse to
uh-huh.
Purpose. And the book is my story as well as 20 other women's interviews of their life in an abusive relationship and how they were able to escape the relationship or leave the relationship, depending on how severe the situation was. And then and the sum of all the interviews was that most of them, after being able to get out, really wanted to help other women. And so that was just one of the beautiful things of the collection of all the picture of all the stories, is seeing how, like, when someone has gone into pain like that, their heart becomes full of purpose to just help other people, because we don't nobody wants to see each other suffer. And so, to one of the people that I interviewed, her name was Helen, and she said that to anyone that reads this, know that you're not alone. The road to recovery is tough, but with support and determination, you can find your voice and build a better future. It's crucial to believe in your worth and protect your loved ones from harm. There's always hope, and you are stronger than you know. And I think that that would have been something really powerful to hear at the time where I was feeling very weak, when I was feeling very alone. And so those words really resonated with me as I was reading over. My editor came over yesterday and she showed up in tears, like just saying how it was so
Oh,
moving and how the stories were
oh,
really going to impact people. And it really made me feel happy, because she was saying how the title really resonates with how all the stories are, and that, that they go into abuse, or they were in a cycle of abuse, and they found that point in their life where they decided, no more. I'm not doing this no more. I deserve better. I am worth it. And and so I just really hope that this book reaches the right people that need to hear this message.
oh, absolutely. And what a powerful quote that that you have there. It really does embody everything that you kind of go through either a physically abusive or mentally abusive relationship. I mean, you go through the same kind of mindset, especially afterwards, and then you do have that drive once you figure out what had happened and why it happened, and how you can prevent that from happening, and then get that self-love and healing back. Then you have that purpose to be like, hey, I figured it out.
Let me
Right?
help
And so,
you.
yeah, let me show you, because it took me 15 years, but maybe you can do it in 5 if I told you what worked for me and for you. And so, yeah, I that's why we both do what we do, right?
Exactly. And so I have the countdown on. The book will be released in I think 15 days, 16 days. And so that's very exciting, because now it's crunch time, and so we're really getting into the nitty-gritty of all the stories, reading them over and over, making sure that they, share the right story and the right message to be heard to the right person. So it's very exciting, and so we're just every day getting into the story and putting together some videos to share with you guys of a few clips, so that you guys, if you know the right person that might need this message, that you could maybe give it to them or share it with them, and they can learn from it, and they can get to a better place in their life, which is what we really hope for them.
Absolutely. And like you just pointed out, if this isn't your situation, there's a very good chance somebody who can benefit from this, who is in that type of situation right now.
Right.
And so, very good point. There are a lot of women out there who are afraid to even just reach out and let anybody know. And so if you know that's going on, absolutely give them Sophie's info, give them my info, and we'll point them in the right direction with the resources they need.
And the reason why I had such a long collective of interviews, so many, 20 of them, is so that it showed a little bit of all different kinds of abuse, so that one story may touch one person and not another. So that way, one of those stories will relate to you, and it'll let you know that that you're not alone. And I think that that's the most important thing in the whole process, because when you're in a toxic relationship, you're depressed, you've basically sheltered yourself from everybody around you, and you do feel just alone. You feel alone and you feel like you have no voice. So that's the really sad part. And that's the part that we just want to help those women, pull them out of there, and let them know that their voices wanted to be heard.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You and I have two, similar yet very different, stories about, what had happened in our past. And, mine coming from, a family, and yours coming from a relationship, and so absolutely there is all different types of physical, mental abuse, and it can come from anybody. And this is another reason we do this, because it's not all one basket, and there is more people who have experienced family abuse, and there is more people out there who've experienced lesser known kind of abuse, than just physical domestic violence that you tend to see the most, and then you've got that mental abuse side from a romantic partner too. And so there is somebody out here, and we're here to create that community. And I love
Yeah.
everything that you're putting together. It's awesome. I think you're going to do so well.
Thank
Where
you.
is your book going to be released again?
And it'll be on Amazon.
On
It'll start on
Amazon?
Amazon, and hopefully it'll be available on Kindle shortly after that,
Okay.
and we'll see where it goes from there, right?
Okay. Well, I'm so
and then
excited.
and then a week after that, I will release a course for women with a 7-day guide to leave an abusive relationship. So if they read the book and they feel compelled that they're ready to make that move, I'll have a course that's called Ripping the Weeds Out, getting rid of that toxic part of your life, and moving on to the better side. So if you need that resource, it'll be available. And I know that you as well are coming out with a course on October 18th, and we're really excited about that. So I would love to hear more about it.
Yeah, so thank you. Yeah, I'm getting my course kind of all buttoned up right now. I'm putting the finishing touches on it. And what my course touches on is the aftermath and the healing once you have left the abuser. One thing, you don't realize when you make that step, and you do go ahead and leave, you don't think about, okay, this is going to stick with me for a long time afterwards. And you think, once I'm gone and this is done, it'll be done and over with, and I'll be free. But the reality is, it's still here, right? And we still have this problem in our head of ruminating and reliving the negative experiences, and those negative emotions and negative looking at oneself, self-worth, it's ingrained in you so deep you don't even realize that you do it. And so what my course is going to focus on is getting you through that part. Okay, rewiring how your brain thinks, because you have to remember, in that relationship, they rewired your brain, essentially, through the manipulation, the lies, the gaslighting, okay, and the, constant criticism, putting you down. You end up believing that on a level, that even if you just tell yourself, well, no, I'm not all those things, it's still ingrained so deep that, it's something that we do need to address. And that's what I address in my course, is how to get past that, and then how to then turn all of that negativity into a purpose and a passion, okay, that drives you forward and gives you the life that you were actually dreaming of, post or pre-leaving the situation. We just don't know how to get there afterwards. We don't know how to stop that cycling in the mind, and that's where I'm going to be helping a lot of women, is to get past it and learn from it and move forward, and then have a new passion to do something great. And like you
Oh,
pointed out, most women, do what we're doing, right? Because they have the passion for that. Once they figure it out, I want to help people. And so if that's what it is, cool. If they have other passions and desires, okay, cool. We'll work through that too.
I definitely
But
would have needed you when I was on my weakest point. When I had left my abuser, I was so lost, and everything started to fall apart, and it was the toxic part that was familiar that I was missing, but that I didn't need. I just needed to pass through it,
yeah,
and I fell into a deep depression, and I would have definitely could have used a course like that to help me avoid that for sure. I would love that.
Yeah.
And anything else you want to talk about the course?
So I'm going to be launching on the 18th of October, and everybody can find me on my socials right now. That's Amy Peace on Facebook. Also, the page is called Passion from Pain. And then you can also find my videos on YouTube and TikTok. And so feel free to, follow me in the meantime. And then, you can even be one of the first ones to join the course. So,
Awesome. I'd love to try it
yeah.
out. And what else was I going to say? And so, what are some of the things that they're going to learn in the course that are going to help them transition? Maybe you want to share, like, maybe one
Yeah.
insight that you share in the
So
course?
one of the biggest things that I teach, and I think is a big part of the reason why we fall for the abuse to begin with, is that we were never taught how to love ourselves to the point that we would set up those boundaries for ourselves, right? So there was something in this person, that obviously we were attracted to, right? But that self-love wasn't really there within us. We weren't taught as a kid, or there was childhood trauma, or you always had to, for some reason, seek validation from other people, instead of yourself. And that's where a lot of women get stuck in these kind of relationships, is because they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know their self-worth and value, and they just don't believe in themselves. So one of the biggest things that I do is teach women how, to love yourself. And we go through accomplishments, and we set up all kinds of, future accomplishments for them to achieve as well, to just start building up that willpower and the self-love and the confidence again. You can't move forward with going into a passion or a purpose until you're confident in yourself again and you love yourself again.
Do you address like boundaries, like things that
Yep,
you just will not accept anymore, so that you stand up for yourself and you know
absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. And setting those boundaries out of self-love and self-preservation. Because if we don't do it from a place of self-love, right? We do it because, oh, I need to set boundaries because they say that's what there is to do. But
Right.
if we don't do it from a place of self-love and a place of self-preservation, we're never going to stick to those boundaries. You could set up 100 boundaries, but when push comes to shove and you're presented with the moment, right?
Right.
You feel more guilty for how this person's going to think of you if you uphold your boundary than you do, if you had that love for yourself, and you could be like, hey, no, I can't. And you are feeling good with that, and you don't feel guilty about doing that to somebody, right?
Exactly.
So getting that projection thinking off of the other person, maybe they're thinking it, maybe they're not, but just cutting that off, I don't care what they're thinking. This is my boundary, and we're not going to go any forward. But that only comes from a place of self-love,
Exactly.
not just setting boundaries to set boundaries.
And accepting yourself for who you are,
Exactly.
which is one of the hardest lessons to learn as a woman, as a person, just period.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Especially after, you've been in an abusive relationship of any kind, or not, because as women, we have our hopes and dreams as we're young adults, and we, go through high school and some of us college and young adulthood with all these ideals of what we're going to be, and then bam, motherhood hits, right? And it's amazing how quickly we just lose ourselves in that. I was no longer Amy who was going to do all these great things. I was mom, I was wife, I was,
Yeah.
everything to everybody all of a sudden. And so that identity does get lost. And it's really hard to love yourself, when you don't even know who you are anymore.
So
And
true.
so that's something to, work through as well. And that's something that we definitely can help address in the course.
Right. And it's so much harder to learn on your own without some guidance.
Mhm.
I completely
Absolutely.
agree.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I cannot wait to see what you got going on.
So yeah, super excited
So yeah.
for the release.
So
I'm super excited for your book, and absolutely doing more of these kind of talks too.
sure. And we would love to hear from our audience. If at any time we're going to try to do lives around this time for a couple weeks, see how you guys react to it, and if anybody wants to join, or if anybody wants to share topics that you would like for us to go over, we would be more than happy to take some suggestions. And that's about it for today, right? Awesome. All right, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.